It is slide number 10 for those of you who weren't with us last week. We're going to pick up where we left off. We got almost all the way through how to handle responding to your partner's preempt, and we got to the very last section about bidding 3 no trump over a 3-level preempt that your partner has made at his opening. And it is down here toward the bottom of slide number 10 where we're going to start. Basically, if you have a singleton or a void in your partner's suit and he has preempted at the 3-level, do not assume that he has an outside entry. Because it's a 3-level preempt, you do not have a way to find out if he has an outside feature, so to speak, the way you do when partner opens at the 2-level. When you bid 3 no trump over partner's 3-level preempt, unless you have a specific agreement to the contrary, it is to play. So this statement here says, do not bid 3 no trump with a singleton or a void in your partner's suit unless you can count 9 tricks in your hand. If you can do that, you had a great big old hand, obviously. So you won't be bidding 3 no trump very often when you have a singleton or a void in partner's preempted suit. Now, here are some examples where you might consider bidding 3 no trump. When your partner opens 3 diamonds and you hold this hand here that I've shown as the example, you know that your partner should have 7 diamonds and you have 2. Unless your partner is the sort who would bid 3 diamonds on a jack or 10 high suit, then holding King Doubleton should give you a really good chance to set up and take 6 or 7 tricks in diamonds. Does that mean that the opponents are going to cooperate and play an ace early for you? No, of course not. Opponents generally are very uncooperative by nature, if you've noticed. They're not out to make your life easy. So they are going to try to hold up an ace of diamonds in this case until their partners can let them know how many diamonds you have. It is very possible, though, that the diamonds are 7-2-2-2 around the table. When someone preempts at the 3-level, the most common distribution around the table is 7-2-2-2. So in that case, you may be hoping that your partner has ace, queen, and 4 little ones, but he may have queen, jack, and 4 little ones. It's up to you and your partner and knowing your partner and your partnership style as to what you might expect from him. Obviously, if you held that hand, you wouldn't pass. So it shouldn't be a case of partner has only 6 diamonds and a ratty suit because he opened in the 3rd seat. This should not be a 3rd seat opening here, because look at how many points you have. I mean, you'd have opened 1 no trump if partner hadn't preempted in front of you, right? So this would have to be a 1st or 2nd seat opening here or overcall. So just remember, bear that in mind. When you hear me talk about preempting on fewer than the number of cards that your level would indicate, or not having a really good suit, that pertains usually to being in the 3rd seat. Your partner is a passed hand, and you have every reason to believe that the person to your left has a big hand. And your objective then is to obstruct the bidding completely. But when you have a hand like this one, that is not going to be the case. So when partner bids 3 diamonds, you and your partner should have talked at least a little bit about how good that bid is going to be given the vulnerability. I say it any vulnerability, but this hand opposite 6 tricks in diamonds here should produce, I mean, your hand should produce 3 tricks. What you're hoping is that partner has ace, queen in diamonds. If he doesn't, well, sometimes that's the way life goes. But I would hate to pass 3 diamonds only to see that this is exactly the holding that partner has. Or he may have ace, queen of diamonds and an outside king. Maybe he has the king of clubs or the king of spades. That would give him 9 points, and that would still be within the realm of an acceptable preempt. You never know in these kinds of cases, but you can't play this game from a position of fear. So make your best judgment. And if you're wrong that time, apologize to partner and go on. At least that's what I try to do. Here's another example. Your partner opens 3 clubs. You have the ace and 2 little ones. Yay, good deal. Look at this hand. I have 15 high card points, 3 aces and a king. That's 4 tricks. If my partner has 6 or 7 decent clubs, I rate to have 3 no trump handily. I know a lot of you are looking at those diamonds though and saying, oh, I can't bid 3 no trump. I don't have a diamond stop. Do the opponents know you don't have a diamond stop? Unless you just come right out and say, hey guys, I don't have a diamond stop. Or unless they're looking at ace, king, queen, jack in their hands, which could happen, but doesn't figure to be anything with the odds, then they've got to find the diamond lead, and they may block the suit. They may be divided 4-4 so they can take only 4 tricks. I mean, you have a lot more going in favor of a 3 no trump bid here than a pass. Now, when I was first beginning, I would no more think about bidding 3 no trump with this hand than I would put a wart on the end of my nose for everybody to admire. I just thought, I don't have a stop in diamonds. I can't bid 3 no trump. But experience has taught me that if I'm not willing to take a chance occasionally, then my results are not going to be very good when compared with those who are willing to take a chance. And I don't mean just plow whole hog into a bid that may seem off the wall. This is a reasonable chance. It's worth taking a chance that you can make 3 no trump here. You could pass 3 clubs, and if your partner makes 4 or 5, you'll kick yourself. Because if you can make 4 clubs, you can probably make 3 no trump. That's just a general rule. If you can make 4 of a minor, that takes about 26 points. 3 no trump takes about 26 points. So long as you didn't have to rough a bunch of losers to come to 4 in the minor suit, then you probably could have made 3 no trump. I'm going to take my chances here and bid 3 no trump. I've told you many, many times that I have a partner who says if the opponents have not given you cause to worry about a suit, don't worry about it. You're just borrowing trouble if you do. So 3 no trump is your most likely game here rather than 5 clubs. So with this extremely balanced hand, I wouldn't hesitate to bid 3 no trump. But if you're not comfortable doing that, keep playing, get a little bit of experience, and watch what happens when the people who bid 3 no trump get a better score than you do enough times, and you'll change your way of thinking. That's what convinced me that I needed to be a little more willing to take some risk here sometimes. I like to take chances that have a good percentage of times when they work out well. And I think this is one of them. Certainly, if one of the opponents has a major suit, he's going to lead it. He will choose a major over a minor on this kind of auction, just because that's our bias. We have a tendency to lead the major suit rather than a minor when we have a choice. So if I'm looking at this hand, I'm bidding 3 no trump. But if you do it and it doesn't work out well, just look at your partner and say, Susan said I should do that. It's okay. I don't mind if you blame me at all. So now then, when the opponents preempt, what are they trying to do? They're trying to shut you out of the auction. Remember, we jump all over the place when we have long suits and few points. So when one of your opponents bids preemptively, you have a choice of what you can do. You can pass, you can overcall, or you can double if you have sufficient strength. If one of your opponents, for instance, preempts at the 3 level, you don't want to use a takeout double or bid with just a common garden variety 11 or 12 high card point hand. Because if you double, for instance, you're requiring your partner to bid at the 3 level. He may or may not have more than 4 points. It could be the preemptor's partner who is sitting there with the balance of the remaining points. So when you double, forcing your partner to bid, you need to make sure that you have sufficient strength to force him to bid at that level. Conversely, if you want to overcall, it depends on how good your suit is. Obviously, the shape of your hand will make a lot of difference. And I've got an example here. If your right hand opponent opens 3 diamonds and you hold this hand right here, I would not double. I have a 5-card major suit, and it's a very fine 5-card major suit. The primary reason I wouldn't double is, well, first off, I have 17 points, but I can't overcall one note, or I can't bid no trump, because I have no stop in the suit that my opponent preempted. But I have a very fine 5-card heart suit, and if I double for takeout, if my partner has a 3-card fragment in hearts, he will not bid that suit. He won't do it. So when you have a 5-card major, particularly a nice 5-card major like this one, feel free to bid it. I have 17 points. If I had another point or two, I would start with a double, simply because I will have too many points for a simple overcall, even at the 3 level. Notice if my partner doesn't like hearts, or if the opponents continue to bid, I can bid 4 clubs to give my partner a choice of suits. And this is a 5-loser hand here, if you look at it. 2 in spades, 2 in diamonds, and 1 in clubs. That's the equivalent of the hand that is just below a 2-club opener in terms of playing strength. So this hand is more than worth taking the risk of bidding 3 hearts over. Is it a tragedy if partner has only 2 small hearts? No, because you have 4 leads here in the heart suit. So you can pretty well manage almost any trump break that you might get. This hand is worth the overcall here, even at unfavorable vulnerability. Now, conversely, here's an example of a hand that is perfect for a takeout double. If you were looking at this hand and your right-hand opponent passed, you would say, well, gee, I have 16 high card points, but I can't open 1 no trump because I have that small singleton in hearts. So if you're like most of us, you would open 1 diamond and see what partner bids. My partners will all bid hearts. You know, that's just a given for me. I just accept it and go on and say, okay, when my partner responds a heart, if my right-hand opponent has not opened and I just open with 1 diamond, I just look at my hand planning for my partner to respond 1 heart, and how am I going to bid subsequently. Now, this hand can count shortness, because unless your partner passes the double to convert it to penalty, your hand is going to be the dummy. When you use a takeout double, you tell your partner, hey, I've got the perfect dummy over here. Just pick your best suit, pick your longest suit, and I'll make a great dummy for you. So the takeout doubler's hand will always be the one on the table if things go according to Hoyle, right? Now, if he passes, converting it to penalty, shrug your shoulders and say, fine by me. You know, if that's what you think is the best action to take, then I'm all for it. Now, let's contrast these 2 previous examples with example 12 here. When your right-hand opponent opens 3 clubs here, what are you going to do? Well, first off, you have no 5-card suit. You have no 5-card suit to overcall. The other problem is this is only a 13-point hand. It really isn't strong enough when you're vulnerable to take a call at the 3 level. Are there people who would do it? Of course there are. A lot of it depends on how forgiving your partner is when you get a bad score. If your partner is okay with going for 200 on a part score hand like this, then, and you feel like you want to double for takeout, then have at it. But when I'm vulnerable and I have only a minimum opening hand, I'm not going to force my partner to bid at the 3 level. Is it possible that we have the lion's share of the points? Of course it is. But I don't want to turn a plus into a minus. It's possible that the right hand opponent can make 3 clubs. But if my partner and I have the lion's share of the points, he has bid 3 clubs expecting to go off. When you preempt, you don't expect to make a bid, do you? Sometimes you get lucky and your partner has just what you need and you make your bid, or maybe you even make an over trick. But if we have the lion's share of the points, then we're going to set 3 clubs. And sometimes it is better to take that positive score than it is to take the risk and give the positive score to the opponents. This is where you learn what people call judgment at the table. You make a bunch of these kinds of decisions. Maybe you double for takeout here. You are short in clubs and you do have an opening hand. But we're starting at the 3 level here. So if partner has his usual 7 or 8 points, remember what it takes to be successful at the 3 level? Generally 22 or 23 high card points between the 2 partners. That means your partner would need to have at least 9 or 10 points in his hand. He may have it. If the bidding goes around to him, he can balance. You're sitting in the second seat, the direct seat here. Remember, it's different when you're sitting in the direct seat from sitting in the balancing seat. If I'm sitting in the balancing seat and I see an auction go 3 clubs pass to me and I'm holding 9 or 10 points, I'm either going to bid a suit or I'm going to double, because I'm going to know that my partner has to have some values. Maybe he just had no suitable bid. So there's always the chance that your partner will balance as well. But when I'm vulnerable in this situation, I'm passing. Up to you, though. You pays your money and you takes your chances. Now, I think most of you remember here that about a year and a half ago, Mike Lawrence came to Fun and Games to present 2 days worth of seminars for us. And he talked about preempting and takeout doubles and things like that. And one of the things he has developed is something he calls the rule of 7 for judging whether to take action over an opponent's preempt. Here again, your right hand opponent opens 3 clubs. Here's your hand. This has 16 points in it, doesn't it? Can't overcall no trump because you don't have a club stop. Mike's guidelines suggest that when you are thinking about taking some action over a preemptive bid, you should assume that your partner has 7 ordinary points. Notice I didn't say 7 perfect points. If you need one specific hand for your partner to have, I can tell you right now, odds are he doesn't have it. If you need for your partner to have 2 specific cards, for instance, he may have that number of points, but the odds that he has exactly the 2 cards you need are not great. Now, in this situation, partner has the spade ace, the heart queen, and the club jack. Now, the club jack is obviously wasted. Queens and jacks in the opponent's suits are generally not worth the cardboard they're printed on. But he has 2 very useful cards here. He has the ace of spades, and this queen of hearts helps you fill in the heart suit. So should you use a takeout double or not? If you look at these 2 hands, 3 spades looks pretty promising, doesn't it? You have a potential loser in hearts, 1 in diamonds, and 2 in clubs. You have a good chance of making 3 spades. Now, when you double, you would like to have 4 cards in each major. As I've said at least 1,000 times, this is not a perfect world, and bridge is not a perfect game, and standard American is not a perfect system. Sometimes you just have to say, well, I'd love to trade one of these clubs for another heart. You don't get to do that. You have to play the hand you're dealt. But holding this hand, I would double anyway, because if you sit and wait for the perfect hand, you're not going to have nearly as many opportunities to bid as if you're willing to accept a slight imperfection here. If your partner bids hearts, oh well, maybe he'll have 5 of them. You don't want to play in a 4-3 fit, but worse things have happened. And I would never get after one of my partners for doubling with this hand over 3 clubs. If my partners don't double over a 3 club preemptive call, then we're going to miss a lot of opportunities, both for part scores or even for games sometimes. This hand is definitely worth a takeout double. Now, what if he has the ace of diamonds and the queen of clubs? Well, that's not as good, is it? That's not as good. But maybe he'll have the jack of spades instead of the ace. And he still has 7 points. I mean, I can envision several 7-point hands that would work very nicely for trying a 3 spade contract here. So don't be afraid, just because your hand isn't absolutely perfect, to make a takeout double, especially when you have this kind of hand. All of these outside suits here, the suits outside the club suit, are nice support for whatever partner bids. Now, it can also help your partner. The rule of 7 can also be of a lot of help to partner when considering whether just to pass or to bid or raise a suit that you have bid in the direct seat following a preempt. But let's take a look at this here and think about it for a minute. If your left-hand opponent opens 2 hearts and your partner bids 2 spades, if you think about Mike's guideline of 7, the rule of 7, he calls it, that's different from the hold-up play. This is another, maybe we should call this one the guideline of 7, or the Lawrence rule of 7, something like that. It looks like 9 high card points indicates that I should raise my partner to 3 spades. But as I said earlier, queens and jacks in the opponent's suits often are worthless. Let's think about it. Left-hand opponent has 6 hearts. I have 3. My partner has overcalled. He did not double. He may or may not have several hearts. But the right-hand opponent passed. If the right-hand opponent is anything like me, if he has 3 small hearts, he's raising to 3 hearts, just based on the law of total tricks. Right-hand opponent did not do that. That leads me to believe that he's short in hearts. If he's short in hearts, is my queen of hearts likely to stand up? It is not, is it? I have to think that that queen of hearts is probably completely worthless. There's another drawback to this hand as well, and that is that it is completely flat. This would be the dummy hand, the short trump hand. There's no shortness here. So we're not going to be able to rough out any of partner's losers because we have no shortness. So let's subtract another point because this is a flat hand. Now, instead of 9 points, the hand is worth 6 points. Do we still want to raise to 3 spades? Probably not. Now, if I were forced, say that right-hand opponent had bid 3 hearts, then I probably would bid 3 spades. But right-hand opponent passed. That makes me think that he is short in hearts. And I'm thinking that if he gets a rough, oh well. And remember, when left-hand opponent opens 2 hearts or 3 hearts, long suits generally mean that side suits are going to break badly. If one person at the table has a singleton, it's very likely that other people at the table have a singleton. If one person has a void, maybe another one has a void or shortness somewhere. That's generally the way it works when you have a long suit in at least one hand at the table. So now, how would we change this hand? What would make this a hand that would be acceptable to raise to three spades? Well, change the ace of spades and the queen of hearts. Make this the ace of hearts and the queen of spades. And now I'm not worried so much that my partner's going to get hit with a heart ruff because I have the top card, the master card in the opponent's suit. He's not going to be able to take the ace and king and then give his partner a ruff, or take the ace and give his partner a ruff. That hand now, if it had the ace of hearts and the queen of spades in it, is now worth a full 9 points and a raise because all the honors are working. All of them are working. That queen of hearts here isn't working at all in the original version of the hand. But change that to the ace of hearts, that would be a working card, and the queen of trumps is always a good card to have. The other thing to think about is that opener now has a maximum of only 6 points in his suit instead of the 8 that he could have had when you had only the queen, if you have changed those out. So he may have a finessable honor outside of his suit that he has bid. This makes it, changing these hands changes the consideration. This hand is not worth a raise to three spades, but change the queen of hearts and the ace of spades, so they're the queen of trumps and the ace of the opponent's suit, and it is now worth a full 9 points and worth a raise. I hope everybody sees how that works. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Now, there's another rule involved in bidding preemptively called the rule of 2, 3, and 4. And it's not based strictly on your side's vulnerability, but it is based on your vulnerability relative to the opponent's vulnerability. And it's a guideline for how high you can bid. When you're considering a preempt, count your sure tricks and then use the guidelines in this table to find the level of your opening preempt. If you're looking at opening in the third seat at favorable vulnerability, I would not hesitate to bid at the 3 level with just a 6-card suit. But as I mentioned here, remember there are no preempts in the 4th seat because there's no one left to preempt. Everybody has already passed. So if you have only a preemptive bid sitting in the 4th seat, throw it in and go on to the next hand. Because if you preempt, remember, you're not expecting to make the bid. You don't want to open the bidding just to give a positive score to the opponents. So if it goes pass, 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 and you're sitting there looking at 8 points with 6 spades that are suitable for bidding 2 spades, just throw it in. There are no preempts in the 4th seat. So if you are vulnerable, the opponents are not, then you say that it's unfavorable. You can overbid your sure tricks by 2. If both of you are vulnerable, that's equal vulnerability, then you can consider overbidding your sure tricks by 3. If we have equal vulnerability again, only nobody's vulnerable, then you can certainly consider overbidding by 3. This means that if you get doubled and you go down 2 or 3, that you still will not have given the opponents more than they might have gotten from a possible contract that they can make. And finally, if you're not vulnerable and the opponents are, in other words, you have favorable vulnerability, then bid as high as you dare, as fast as you can. If you have every reason to believe that the opponents may have a slam, if you're sitting in 3rd seat particularly, and you're looking at just a preemptive hand in 3rd seat, you know that your left-hand opponent has to be the one with all the points. So don't be afraid to bid at the 3 level with a 6 card suit, or at the 4 level with a 7 card suit. You want to make it as hard as possible on that guy sitting to your left. Now notice, this is at favorable vulnerability. I don't recommend between sacrifice and slaughter. And the sooner you can learn that difference, the better off you will be. You want to take a reasonable sacrifice, but you don't want to set yourself up for slaughter. What does it mean when the opponents have preempted and your partner makes a jump overcall? Normally, when talking about preemptive bids, someone has opened the bidding and the next person makes a jump overcall. We call that weak. That's the equivalent of a week 2 opening bid. If it's at the 2 level, it goes 1 club, 2 spades. That says, partner, I'd have opened 2 spades if this fella over here to my right hadn't bid. I have the equivalent of a week 2 opening in spades. If the bid to your right is weak, then a jump by you is strong in this situation. So holding this kind of hand, your partner opens 2 diamonds, you could bid 2 hearts, but I would bid 2 hearts with about an ace less than that in that hand. I think that I would very strongly consider bidding 3 hearts here. I practically have 3 hearts in my hand. I don't need a whole lot from partner here to make 3 hearts a successful contract. Got to get a diamond opening lead, I think. And look at my nice tennis that I have here. This fella has 6 and I have 3. Maybe my partner only has 1 or 2 diamonds as well. So if I'm holding a hand like this and my opponent preempts next to me, rather than bid 2 hearts, I'll bid 3 hearts. Take away the ace of clubs and make it a small one, and I'm still bidding 2 hearts all day long. That's a great suit, and I have good stuff in the opponent's suit as well. So here are a couple things to remember. If you bid a simple non-jump overcall of a preemptive bid that says to partner, pass if you have 7 or fewer points. In other words, I have the common garden variety opening hand here, particularly at the 2 level. At the 3 level, it should be a little better than that. But if you bid a jump overcall of a preemptive bid, you're asking your partner to raise if he has a common garden variety 7 points. There's Mike's guideline of 7 again, and reasonable trump support. What's reasonable? With a jump overcall, I would say honor doubleton or 3 small could be considered reasonable, of course. So examples of a good jump overcall when your opponents have preempted. If your right-hand opponent opens 2 diamonds, this is definitely a good 3 heart call right here. Has nice points, shortness in the preempted suit. This is definitely worth a bid of 3 hearts, because if your partner has reasonable trump support and 7 or 8 points, you don't mind being in game. With this hand, 3 spades is certainly worth consideration. Look at this hand. I mean, this is an 18-point baby. A lot of times you would double first and then bid your spade suit. Well, when you've had somebody who has preempted, you can show that same hand right away by using the jump overcall if you have 6 cards in the suit. I think this is definitely worth a 3 spade call here. Not 2 spades, 3 spades. I wouldn't bid 2 spades if I didn't have the ace of clubs, or if I didn't have the ace of hearts. I would bid 2 spades. With this big a hand, 3 spades conveys that to your partner. One more here. This is a monster. This is the reason people like to preempt. Here you have this wonderful suit. You would like to be able to exchange some information with your partner. I mean, if you had adequate space, you might even find a spade slam. You don't have any idea what kind of hand your partner has. But with a hand like this, opposite a 2-heart opening, I'm going to bid 4 spades because I think I might be able to make 4 spades. Goodness, if my partner has the right hand, I can make 6. But the preempt does its job. The preempt has taken away a lot of my bidding space. So I want to be in game, so I have to bid it here. I don't want to bid 3 spades and have my partner pass. That could happen very easily. But this hand has so much playing strength in it. Notice the singleton in the preempted suit. Good tennises here. I mean, I have 3 in my hand, basically. And all I need from partner is just 1 card, and hopefully it's not the King of Hearts. If it's the King of Hearts, I need to be able to get to his hand to take a discard. Say, maybe I could discard my small club. Just maybe the King of Diamonds or the King of Clubs or the King of Spades is really all I need. I need 1 king from him. Don't care which one. Is all I need to have a good shot at 4. And I don't want my partner to pass if he only has 3 or 4 points in his hand. And if I bid 3 spades, he will. So this is an example where 4 spades is a reasonable call. Do I guarantee it will make? No, I don't. But it's definitely a good bid to consider in this situation. Now, this hand came from the common game. West opened 3 clubs, North bid 3 hearts, and South bid 4 hearts. And everybody passed. This has 9, 12, 14 points and a void in it. I don't jump to 4 hearts here because I've got a 4-card spade suit. If my partner doesn't like hearts, I'll try spades next to see if we find a fit. But look at the hand that my partner has. I mean, I don't want not to bid here. Certainly, if I jump to 4 hearts, I'm taking a huge position. My partner doesn't have to have the ace and king of diamonds. He could have the ace and king of clubs. Those would not be very useful cards to me, would they? Could West preempt 3 clubs missing the ace and king? Of course it could. My partner could have the ace and king of clubs instead of the ace and king of diamonds. But right now, really all I'm looking at is losing the ace of trumps here. So my point to you is to remember that if you have a really super strong hand and only 1 suit that you need to show, consider making a jump overcall of a weak opening if you have the bidding space. But when you have 2 suits here, if I were to jump to 4 hearts here, it's possible that my partner could have 2 hearts and 4 spades and we would belong in the spade game. So I don't jump with this type of hand, but certainly bidding over the preempt is worth doing. Notice if you double, you're very short in clubs, your partner's going to bid diamonds. You have a great fit in diamonds, but that's not your best fit. When you have a long suit, rather than doubling, you need to remember to think about bidding it rather than doubling.
Hi, this is Susan. Thanks for stopping by the Oklahoma Collective's YouTube channel. Basically, this channel shows recordings of our free 1-hour bridge lessons for advancing players that we offer every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central Time. If you would like to join us, send your contact information to the email address shown on the screen, and we'll be happy to send you the link. If you would like to follow our channel and be notified when a new recording is uploaded, just click the Oklahoma Collective button below. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.